Your Excellency, I now wish to invite you to come and make your remarks, Your Excellency.
Su Excelencia, Vicepresidente.
Your Excellency, Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, good afternoon, as well as to the Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Kuria. Greetings as well to the President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Kenya, Mr. Gathia. Greetings as well to the members of the delegation of Colombia who are here with us, business leaders, men and women from Kenya and Colombia, chambers of commerce, and especially the Bogota Chamber of Commerce, which has worked enormously to help us put together such an important forum between Colombia and Kenya. The opportunities for commercial exchange between Colombia and Kenya are huge. We've already had a couple of experiences in trade. We have Colombian companies exporting to Kenya, especially in the food sector. And Kenya is a country that, therefore, little by little was able to know a bit more about the products that Colombia has to offer. But this is really just a small seed, something that's still quite limited. And of course, these encounters and South-South cooperation meetings should allow us to strengthen those trade relations in different sectors. For Colombia and for Kenya, a joint objective is, or shared objective rather, is food security and food sovereignty. We have a lot to share: science and technology for agricultural development, to develop food sovereignty, which is essential in both countries, as we both have citizens, especially boys and girls, who are still suffering from hunger. Trade should help us bring solution to human needs. If trade does not allow us to satisfy our needs and guarantee access to rights for humanity, then trade is failing. Secondly, as you mentioned, wish to strengthen these trade relationships through fair, balanced, equitable trade in order to allow for the distribution of wealth and capital and bridge the gaps. And this is part of our priorities. This is why we have many programs and projects that we wish to explore for trade, such as the development of scientific knowledge in health, in order to commercialize goods and services, and undoubtedly strengthening our economic and commercial relations should help us dignify labor rights of workers, be they men or women. This is why in Colombia we are pushing at the moment a labor reform in order to dignify the conditions of all workers, men and women, in our country. These are fundamental conditions that we require to truly put together within a commercial exchange between two sister nations that have a lot of history in common. Climate change has put forth huge challenges. In Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa are fundamental regions where work can be done to tackle these challenges. We know the experience of Kenya in terms of the production of clean energy, sustainable energy. This knowledge and this experience is fundamental to face the challenges that the Colombian government is looking at in terms of green energy transition and decarbonization. Together, we have decided to support the proposals of President Petro looking at foreign debt swap in exchange for climate action. This should help us accelerate the industrialization of clean and sustainable economies, economies that are put at the service of life. Tourism, as we well know, is a key sector. You're pioneers in sustainable tourism, community tourism. And I wish to acknowledge, and I had actually said that before, but I want to acknowledge the economic value that Kenya gives to sustainable tourism practices and green tourism practices, understanding that, for example, safaris are a wonderful way of finding out more about the practices, traditions, and current reality of the Kenyan people. And this is something that we should implement in Colombia too, considering that we're one of the most biodiverse countries in the world, and that this experience of sustainable green community tourism is fundamental. I think most topics have been mentioned thus far, but this clearly will not be possible without strengthening international connections, which is why we have signed a memorandum of understanding in order to start working on a better airline connection between Kenya and Colombia. We've also proposed that to South Africa because we would like to make sure that Latin America is better connected with the African continent. No more isolation. The era of separation that lasted for so long needs to come to an end. We must be able to reach this continent and this country easily, and vice versa. Tourism is another topic, and if we wish to strengthen this collaboration in tourism, we must be connected so that Colombians can come here, discover all the beauty of this nation, and vice versa. That you may visit our country and all the beauty that we have been endowed with. But to this end, we must work together. And this is what we said this morning. And we must also, therefore, ease the visa process. We can hopefully one day reach an agreement whereby we mutually exempt our citizens from visas so that our citizens can freely travel from one country to another. So I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come to our motherland, the land of our ancestors. Thank you, sisters and brothers, for your generosity, the generosity with which you are hosting us here. We are full of emotion and happiness in our hearts because we know that what we have agreed on will be used to foster the well-being of both our nation. Long live Kenya and long live Colombia.
Let us all be